Assalamu alaikum, ahla wa sahlan. Welcome back to my channel. This is Fatima, and I am sharing my journey for learning all things Arabic with you all. So today's topic will be about Arabic dialects and modern standard Arabic. If you know anything about Arabic, or if you thought about learning it, you realized really quickly that this is a huge debate. And I kind of want to talk about the complexities around it. As you all know, I am now enrolled in a proper college degree program, and I just completed one of my summer courses, and that course was around understanding Arab culture. And we had this pretty cool book, a really easy read that gives you a lot of great points and statistics to go off of, and pretty much sources for you to use and go off and figure out some more things on your own, seeing as though the book might be a little bit outdated just because of the date that the book was written and how things change frequently. However, the foundations of it all, of course, is there and is, again, an awesome read. Anyway, the name of the book is Understanding Arabs, the 6th edition. And today I wanted to go through with you all of the details in the book, a good bit of them, I would say, about dialects and why it is a complex topic. And it's not as cut and dry as some folks try to make it seem. So, yalla, let's go. Okay, so the first thing we need to understand is that Arabic is spoken by around 400 to 425 million people and is the official language of some 20 countries. There are 22 countries in the Arab League of States, and those countries are in MENA. MENA stands for Middle East and North Africa. And so it's, as you can see, if that many people speak the language and it's the official language of that many countries, you can understand why there may be a lot of different dialects. Now, what a lot of people need to understand is that there are technically 3 different types of varieties, not dialects, but varieties of Arabic. One of those is the classical and modern standard, aka Fusha. Then there are the colloquial dialects. There are many different types of dialects. And then there is the formal and spoken Arabic, right? That's more of like an educated spoken Arabic that kind of improvises and uses the principles of modern standard Arabic, but it's structured in the local dialect. Interesting. I really didn't know about that one until I read the book. But the main thing is that understanding that the classical and modern standard Arabic, aka Fusha, is used in the Quran, which is very important to Muslims. That is our holy book, that is our sacred book, and that is the language that Allah chose to send down to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, as it relates to this religious text. And so that is the reason why a lot of Arabs do understand and know modern standard Arabic, because it is taught in the Quran. Whether they understand it or not, as far as like what is being said, they understand the phonetics of it and they recognize that this is something that's from the Quran. Also in school, Arabs do learn modern standard Arabic in their day-to-day, right? Because it's supposed to be seen as like a universal language. Like, although you speak your dialect daily, if you go out into the world and you meet other Arabs, you should be able to speak to them in Fusha and they should be able to understand you, and you all can still communicate, right? And not just Arabs, but Arab speaking people in general. So with that being said, a lot of people do learn it in school, but they choose to continue on with their dialects. Now, with that being said, the dialects are spoken and they are everyday forms of communication. They're not really for writing. Like Fusha is definitely for the Quran, reading, writing. When it comes to speaking in the media, like a lot of formal settings, professional settings like speeches, news broadcasts, and things of that nature. But it's not really for ordinary everyday conversation. And that is where the dialects do come in at. And that's also where, like, you know, you see some stuff like this in films, obviously, because they are playing off of real everyday life, plays, slang, and cartoons and stuff like that. Now, the formal and spoken Arabic that I was talking about is kind of similar, kind of like a balance between the two in a way. Because again, they're using the principles of standard Arabic terminology within the structure of local dialect. And it's used by educated people when they converse with Arabs whose dialect is very different from their own. And it is an acquired skill. There's no hard and fast rules. And as you can just see there in that statement, it's like whenever a dialect is very different from their own. That is the reason why when you're learning Arabic, you definitely should come into the language with a goal in mind. Like, what is your goal? For me, because my son is Yemeni American, he will be learning English, right? As long as he's in America, like that would just be his native language for sure. And when he's learning Arabic, he's going to learn the Yemeni dialect. But I also want him to learn Fusha. As a Muslim, it's important for us to read the Quran and understand it in the language that it was sent down in. That's very important. Also, too, reading is fundamental in all languages, I feel. And the reason why I feel that way is because, you know, if you want to get to a native like level, then you should do as the natives do. And so it's not like native Arab people ignore Fusha when it comes to school. Like, they still have to be engaged with that variety of the language. It's up to them to actually keep up with it, right? So with that being said, I do want a holistic view for myself. That's my own path, is to learn Fusha. That's what I'm currently learning in my college courses. And then, like I said, speak the Yemeni dialect, because that's a dialect that my husband will be speaking to me and his family. So there's no need for me to learn any other dialect, really. I feel like when it comes to Egyptian and Levantine, for instance, because those are so popularized in films, in music and things of that nature, I definitely will be exposed. I will definitely be aware, and I will learn that in a very natural and gradual way, but it will not be as intentional as me learning Fusha and the Yemeni dialect. So I won't go into any more details when it comes to that chapter as it relates to Arabic and like communicating with Arabs. That is chapter 10 in the Understanding Arab 6th edition book. What I will go to now is the appendix, which I thought was really cool, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what is the difference? What is the big deal? Like, are these dialects really that different? Am I going to be that confused? And it's like, well, you know, figure it out. You'll see. Like, get your hands dirty, get into the language, start learning it, and you'll figure it out really quickly. Now, the thing is that when Islam spread across MENA, the Middle East and North Africa, when it spread, people had already been living in those areas speaking their own language, right? And so with Islam came Arabic, the modern, standard, classical version of that. And people began to mix that in with their traditional native or other language influences. For instance, in North Africa, right, people will tell you like, oh my gosh, Moroccan Arabic, nobody understands it. That's what they say. I don't know, but that's because there is like a Berber influence in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Mauritania. So those are like those influences there. And then when you come to Egyptian and Sudanese, there is like maybe a Turkish influence, a Coptic influence, a Nilotic, I think that's how you pronounce it, forgive me, influence. And then you have Levantine, right? So that's the Levantine category includes Lebanon, Syria, Palestine. And that's like, they have local Semitic languages there, like languages from Armenia and places like that, like Canaanite, stuff like that. So their dialects is going to be a little bit different based off of their native or other language influences. Then I don't even see French mentioned here. And I know that French does have influences depending on the area and the region, because the French also colonized certain areas. And then you have the Arabian Peninsula. So you're thinking Jordan, Saudi, Yemen, Kuwait, Qatar, the UAE, Omani. So we have like Farsi in the Gulf dialects, Bedouin dialects, South Arabian languages, right? Like just a whole lot of different influences. So it's like, yeah, Arabic is sort of kind of maybe the base, or maybe Arabic is not the base and their native language is, and then Arabic just adds a little bit of razzle dazzle on top of that. Then you have Iraqi. So there are, like I mentioned before, Turkish influence, Farsi influences, and then Semitic influences as well. So people will tell you in those areas that Egyptian / Sudanese and Levantine are easier to understand for many different types of Arabs, right? Like across the world. It's like those are the most popular dialects as it relates to everyday life when it comes to TV, film, movies, and music, like I was saying. However, North African, Iraqi, and the Arabian Peninsula are a little bit more difficult for other Arabs to understand. So even for them, if you come at them and you are an Arab, they are an Arab, and you're speaking to them and they don't understand it, that can happen, in daily life. It's like, whoa, like, okay, let's slow down a bit and let's like figure out what words we have in common. Especially if somebody's like heavy in their dialect and they're not even trying to use Fusha at all. So even if you are an Arab or you are an Arabic learner, you may still have difficulty. And I think that's okay. Like the biggest thing is like not trying to figure out like what is absolutely right. Like you will have some people who will hard up say, you need to learn Egyptian as a dialect. Don't even bother with Fusha and go off and be great when it comes to Arabic. And that does work for some people. Don't get me wrong. However, what they also don't say, the caveat there, is that yes, if you learn Egyptian, you will be widely understood, most likely by other Arabs or Arabic speaking people. However, when they respond to you, just like if you learned Fusha, you may not understand. And here are some examples. For instance, today I opened up the video, I think, with Kaif Halik. That means, how are you? Inshallah. Everyone is well, by the way. So Fusha is Kayfa Halik, Kayfa Halika, Kayfa Haliki, depending on who you're talking to, right? But a Lebanese person who speaks Arabic will say Kifak. Luckily, it's pretty close to Fusha, so I'll be able to understand that, right? But if I did not know this prior to hearing it, if an Egyptian person walked up to me and said, Izayek, I would be like, excuse me? Izayek? Kifak. Now you may say like, oh, well, the endings are the same, but you'll learn like that's a part of grammar. But if we're just looking at kif and Izaya, you wouldn't know, like you wouldn't automatically know. Now, of course, being in the area, learning, being around the people, having some like natural immersion, you're going to probably pick it up. That's one example. Another one is good. So good in Fusha, for instance, if you're asking somebody like, oh, how are you? They would say, Ana bikhair. So bikhair is going to be good, or should I say actually fine. That's really, technically we'll say fine. But either way, if you're responding with that concept, right, that is Fusha. In Lebanon, they may say many. It's totally different. In Egypt, they may say Kawais. Now, I know that is popular in many different dialects. So again, maybe if you learned Fusha and a dialect, you might be able to pick up on the quiz. But again, that's so different, right? Those are completely different words, right? And that's just a couple of examples. The book did give more, and I will be doing screenshots, so you'll see that. What I can say, though, is that when it came to beautiful, like, it's like they were saying, like, this is like slightly different, because beautiful in modern standard Arabic, Fusha is Jamil or Jamila, depending on who you're talking to. And in Jordanian, it's Jamila. And then in Egyptian is gamila. So also you understand that ga and ja are the same exact letter, but are pronounced differently based on the area that you're in. So, I mean, to me, it's beautiful. It's frustrating for sure, but I think it's just really interesting, and it just keeps you engaged in learning, and you'll probably always be a lifelong learner. And the way that it sounds, like Arabs as well are like lifelong learners. Like I'll hear my husband say all the time, like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Cool. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like everybody is learning continuously, which is awesome. I think that I'm about to wrap this up. Yeah, I think that I'm about to wrap this up. And then we'll go into some more of it later. But I wanted to definitely share this with you because of the fact that I know this is like the biggest debate ever when it comes to learning Arabic. Do you learn Fusha or not? And which freaking dialect do you learn? And the thing is that this is your own personal journey. No one can tell you what to do. I have never heard a single person that has been learning Arabic say, I'm learning Yemeni. And that's probably because they haven't had a reason to, right? And even for me, it's like I have fallen in love with the way that certain dialects sound, but I also realize there's really no need for me to like learn those dialects right now. It's focus on what's important. And what's important is me getting the foundation of the language, I feel, especially with the sounds through Fusha. So I don't look at Fusha as like being in vain. And also because I am Muslim, I want to learn it, need to learn it sort of kind of maybe for the Quran. Although there are translations, it's just a deeper connection that you have whenever you're actually reciting it and understanding it. You just, it's not robotic at that point. You actually feel the connection. So I think that's why that's important for me as well as a Muslim. And of course, again, as I repeated many times before, the Yemeni connection with my husband and his family. Outside of that, there's no more of a debate for me. My husband understands and knows that I am a student and I'm learning. I also asked someone in my class that as well. Like, hey, if I came up to you and started speaking in Fusha, would you look at me like I was an alien? Because people say that that's what's going to happen. And she said, no, every learner of Arabic learns Fusha in most cases, right? We as Arabs understand that. And if you tell us, well, when you respond to us, we're going to know that you're speaking Fusha. And if they know it, they're going to speak that to you as well. And if they don't know it, they're going to try their best to as well. So for me, it's like, unless you are like this super extrovert that just wants to go out and about in the country that you're going to be in and just speaking to everybody just for the heck of it, then that's fine. For me, that's not my goal. Like, I am definitely an introvert. I will only be speaking with my husband and his family. If I do go out into an area and there are other Arabs, first of all, I won't even know if they are going to be from Yemen or not. So with that being said, I may automatically default to Fusha, but the whole point and the goal there is to not just show off my Arabic skills or to use them just because. It will be done naturally, right? And so when you're naturally getting to know someone, you take your time. And I think that we as learners can overwhelm ourselves by being overzealous and just super excited. But anyway, that is what I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you're still just as confused. I don't know. Leave me a comment and we'll figure it out together. I'll try to give you some more advice or some more resources so that you can make your own decision. But if you're still here, thank you so much. Shukran, shukran, shukran. I really do appreciate you. Please like this video, share it with someone that may find it interesting as well. Leave a comment and share with me your experience on, are you learning Arabic? If so, did you learn Fusha and a dialect? And if not, why? Which dialect did you learn if you did learn one? I'd love to know. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Inshallah, you have an amazing day and week. And until next time, bye. Ma'asalama.